Imagine walking into a grocery store today with a $100 bill in your hand. You remember a time not so long ago when that bill meant a full cart of groceries that could feed your family for a week. But today, you look down at your basket and see only a few bags. Yet the total on the screen is already approaching 3 digits. You feel a strange tightness in your chest, a quiet realization that something is fundamentally broken. You have worked hard your entire life. You followed all the rules and you saved what you could. Yet despite all that effort, it feels like you are running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. The comfort and stability that once defined the American middle class are vanishing before our very eyes. What we used to call normal staples of life are now being rebranded as luxury items for the wealthy. This is not just your imagination, and it is certainly not a result of your own failures. We are witnessing the systematic collapse of the middle class dream. Today, we are going to look at the hard truth about why your hard-earned money is disappearing and what it really means for your future. For decades, the hallmark of a middle-class life was owning a home with a yard and a white picket fence. It was the ultimate symbol of security and a way to build generational wealth. But in 2024 and moving into 2025, that dream has become a locked door for the vast majority of Americans. The median home price in the United States has climbed to over $440,000. In popular areas where people actually want to live, that number often exceeds $500,000 or even $600,000. But the price tag is only half of the story. The real killer is the interest rate. Just a few years ago, you could lock in a 30-year mortgage at 3%. Today, those rates are hovering around 7%. On a typical home, that difference alone adds over $1,000 to your monthly payment. When you add in rising property taxes and skyrocketing insurance premiums, the total cost of ownership is reaching $4,000 a month. According to recent data from Redfin, only 16% of homes currently for sale are considered affordable for a typical household. If you already own your home, you are among the lucky ones, but you are likely watching your children and grandchildren struggle to find a place of their own. The ladder of upward mobility has been pulled up, leaving an entire generation stranded on the ground. Then there is the issue of transportation. We used to think of a reliable new car as a basic necessity for getting to work and taking care of the family. But the average price of a new vehicle has now surged past $48,500. That is more than many people earn in an entire year of full-time labor. Even used cars, which used to be the budget-friendly alternative, now average around $26,000. To make these prices seem manageable, lenders are now offering 84-month car loans. That is 7 long years of payments for a machine that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. The average monthly car payment has hit a record high of $730. People are essentially taking on a second rent payment just to have a way to get to their jobs. This is not a sign of a healthy economy. It is a sign of a society drowning in debt just to maintain the appearance of normalcy. We also have to talk about the cost of raising the next generation. Daycare and childcare have reached a level of expense that defies logic. In many states, parents are paying between $1,500 and $2,000 a month per child. For a family with 2 children, that is an annual cost of nearly $36,000. It has reached a point where many parents have to ask if it even makes financial sense to go to work. If one parent earns $50,000 a year, almost their entire take-home pay is consumed by the cost of someone else watching their children. This forces a heartbreaking choice between financial survival and being present for their kids. And for those of you in your 50s and 60s, the pressure is coming from both sides. You want to help your children and grandchildren, but you are also looking at your own retirement horizon. The traditional path of working hard for 40 years and retiring with a gold watch and a pension is dead. Most companies have abandoned pensions in favor of the 401k system. This effectively shifted all the financial risk from the giant corporations onto your individual shoulders. If the market crashes the year you want to retire, that is your problem, not theirs. The latest data from the Federal Reserve shows that the median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64 is only $185,000. If you plan to live for 20 years after you stop working, that breaks down to less than $10,000 a year. Even with Social Security, that is a recipe for a very thin and stressful retirement. What were supposed to be your golden years are starting to look like your keep working years. So why is this happening to us? The answer lies in something called stealth inflation. The government and the media tell us that inflation is coming down, but your wallet knows the truth. The official numbers often exclude the things you actually need to survive, like food, energy, and housing. The reality is that 62% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. This includes nearly half of those earning over $100,000 a year. When nearly 50% of high earners are struggling to make ends meet, we are no longer looking at a spending problem. We are looking at a structural failure of the currency. The value of your labor is being diluted by the massive printing of money and the growing national debt. You are being taxed through the loss of your purchasing power, and the middle class is the primary target. The system is designed to benefit the very top and the very bottom, while the people in the middle provide the fuel for the entire engine. But there is a way to protect yourself if you are willing to wake up from the old dream. The first step is to stop playing their game of status and consumption. The system wants you to stay in debt for cars you do not need and houses you cannot afford. It wants you to keep paying for dozens of subscription services that slowly drain your bank account like financial vampires. You must become ruthless with your budget and cut anything that does not provide genuine value or security. Any debt with an interest rate over 15% is an emergency, and it must be eliminated immediately. Credit card companies are not your friends. They are wealth extraction machines. If you are carrying a balance, you are voluntarily giving away your future wealth to giant banks. The second step is to redefine what success looks like for you. True wealth is not a new car or a big house in a prestigious neighborhood. True wealth is having an emergency fund that allows you to sleep through the night without worry. It is having the freedom to walk away from a toxic job because you are not a slave to your debt. It is investing in your own skills and your own health, which are the only assets no one can take from you. The middle-class dream of the 1950s is not coming back, and waiting for the government to fix it is a losing strategy. But by recognizing the trap, you can choose to walk a different path. Focus on what you can control, protect your savings from the hidden tax of inflation, and prioritize the things that truly matter. Family, health, and independence are the only luxuries that will never lose their value. Thank you for listening to this difficult truth today. If this message resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. What is one thing you used to consider normal that now feels like a luxury? We are all in this together, and by sharing our experiences, we can find a way to navigate this new reality. Stay strong, stay informed, and keep building a future that belongs to you.